Welcome back. It is 1640. We are making quick work of this. In the last one, we did have our second child, but unfortunately, Margaret did pass away in childbirth. Also, lots of things happened in the other families with, both Priscilla and Abigail getting married. So we'll continue on with that. Right now, Philip and Abigail are the only ones having children, but here we have a few birthdays going on. Let's start with Silence Waldrick, an infant, no 12, 16, or 18. That is the last child of Jane and Elliot. Jason Waldrick, no 4, 8, or 17. That is the second to last child. And then Edmund, they had a lot of babies, like all in a row when no one else was having babies. He can't get a 13 or a 19. He did not. And then Ahanu Metacomet and Esther Hobard, both getting a no 7 or 14. 7 or 14. And then will they get married and have babies? He will. She will. Okay, so they're both up for babies. Ahanu Metacomet. He's not. Okay. And then was it Esther? I can't remember now, but let's see. Yeah. Solomon Waldrick is aging up, no 2, 6, 11, or 15. He survived. And then Peter Hobard, the older, is dying, which actually, you know what? It's a good time because your son is married and you're a grandpa now, and you at least got to see that happen. So I guess there's that. For townies, we have Jacqueline aging up. That looks like it's about it there. So great. Let's hop into the game. All right, so I actually wasn't going to start here, but Cella showed up to our house, so we'll start here. Here is Cella, so she's come over because, as we know, Abraham has been giving her a lot of positive attention lately, and, Muriel's been encouraging her to, get with Abraham because Muriel wants them to be together for her own reasons, and because I do think she does like Cella a little bit. So, Abraham's been giving her a lot of attention, but she also knows that he's been giving attention to Temperance. And so she's kind of confused by that, right? She's not really understanding why he would be giving another girl attention at the same time when he is, giving her attention, courting her. And so, they go out again and they're having a good time and everything. And she just kind of, asks, she's like, when are you going to propose to me? Like, when are you going to propose? Because, other people are getting ideas that, like, you don't want to get Temperance's hopes up or whatever. So she basically comes out and asks him about it because, a man spending time with a woman like this would indicate something. And Abraham is just kind of, he like blanches. He's like, oh, we're just having fun. Like, I didn't know you were like really serious. So he's kind of, backing off and saying like, I'm not courting you. Like, I'm not courting you. We're just having a good time. We're friends, aren't we? Like, we're just having a good time. And she's like, you have totally given me signals to the otherwise. And he's like, I'm just a flirty person. I don't know what you want me to say. And Cella's getting worked up because she obviously thinks that he's been into her this whole time. And Muriel has not been helping with her thought of that. And so she's like very confused. And she's like, I thought we were courting. Like, I thought we were going towards this goal of marriage together. And Abraham's like, look, Cella, you're very nice. You're fun to hang out with, but you're just not wife material. And she is infuriated by that. And she's like, what do you mean by that? Like, my father was the captain. He's like, yeah, like a billion years ago. Like, your family doesn't have any standing now. Your stepmother made a fool of herself and embarrassed your whole family and then got, banished. And like, I don't know why you think that you're more than what you are, because you're not. And if I'm captain of the guard now, and because of that, I need a wife who has good standing and has good values and, doesn't have any stains on her family reputation and all of that. And she's like, but my father, he was so well respected. And he's like, yeah, but that's long gone. That's very far away. And she just storms off. She's so upset and she's crying and everything. And he's like, well, what do you want me to say? Um, yeah, he was never intending on marrying her. And so he's just like, ugh. And then he ends up, seeing Humphrey in the church one day. And basically, Humphrey looks up to Abraham because, his father thought so highly of Abraham. And so he's just basically like, oh, hey, like, you know, Humphrey wants to get involved in his father's legacy. And Abraham just sees him as competition, basically. Abraham sees him as a person who could try to usurp his position, and he doesn't like that. And so he just kind of brushes him off. Meanwhile, back at home, Abraham is mad because Muriel is mad because, of course, Cella has talked to Muriel by now, and Muriel's like, what is wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. Cella's a good person. Like, you should pick her. Abraham's like, she doesn't have what we want. Like, Abraham always thought that Muriel and him were like in this scheme together where they were trying to figure out how to get him to the top because Muriel benefits from that as well. So he's confused as to why she doesn't see that Cella is not a good choice when compared to someone like Temperance. So they argue about that. And then we are going to next head over to our main household. And now, as we know, I'm still devastated about Margaret. I'm so devastated. And look how bad Solomon and Bernard's relationship is. It's just like, oh my gosh. I think that throughout all of the difficulties with, how their family was structured and all the jealousy and the loneliness and all of these weird feelings, and it all just has kind of been deteriorating. And then Margaret passes away, and then suddenly they're like, don't know what to do. And so they're doing their chores, they're taking care of the kids, they're doing their usual stuff, but like somehow over all of this time, this disconnect has formed in between the two of them. And, Bernard is thinking to himself and, doing chores and stuff. And he's like, look, like, I think that this isn't working. Like, my family is not working and I need to fix that. So he's going to really think hard about exactly what he wants to do, but he knows that him and Solomon need to get back on the same page. So we're going to come in here and he's just going to be cleaning up a little bit. I'm so devastated about Margaret. I loved her so much, and I was going to have her like go off and, find her own true love and all of that stuff. And then like, oh, it's so cruel that she, had everything ahead of her, and I'm devastated. But anyway, we're not going to dwell on it. We're going to move forward. But, you know, Bernard basically pulls Solomon aside and says, look, like, I know the two of us have been having issues lately, but we need to keep this family together. We need to take care of the children. We need to be there for the children. And we need to, remember Margaret and make sure they remember Margaret and make sure that, they live a good life and that, and we need to be strong and we need to be together. And I love you and I've always loved you. And ever since I was young, I've loved you. And I don't want us to fall apart. Like, we need to be together more than ever because of everything that has happened. And so they're just trying to, over time, find this connection again, find this happiness again. Their friendship grows again. And, all of the bitterness and negative feelings are going to take a while to go away. That's not something that can just be solved overnight. But at the same time, they're both making an effort to move forward with their relationship and to move forward with their life and their family together. And they want to make sure that they, can find that in themselves again. So we're rooting for them. I did get a notification. It was like, hey, if you're mean to me one more time, I'll divorce you. And I'm like, uh-oh. But, we're rooting for them. We're trying to get them to get back in love. Because right now they're like back to the point of being friends again, but they're not back to the point of being in love. And that is really disappointing. Honestly, I do not know how that happened. It like feels like it happened all behind my back. It's all of a sudden their relationship was in a really bad state. And, I feel sad that the two of them are having such a hard time and when they were like so meant to be. And they went through so much to be together. And like, Solomon gave up so much. He like gave up his whole life to protect Bernard from any rumors or anything. And so he does not want to, like that person that he was, like, he needs to find that again. They both need to find it again. And I really hope they do. If they get divorced, if like the game auto divorces them, I am going to let it happen and we'll say that it fell apart. Otherwise, um, hopefully that they can, get their romance back up and get back to where they were and raise the kids together and all of that stuff. And Grim keeps taking my chickens. Grim keeps taking all of my chickens. But yeah, so anyway, moving on, we're going to bring Margaret's gravestone to the new church. Now, I forgot to do that before, but here she is. She is being laid to rest. We're very sad. I mean, regardless of anything that's happened, like they both really did love Margaret as a friend. They both like really loved her a lot, and she is the mother of their children and everything. And so, it's obviously devastating for them as well to lose her. So let's actually put them somewhere hiding away because I don't want everybody to see them because obviously this is not societally acceptable at the time. So we're just going to have them kind of hide away in a little corner, and try to reconnect with each other. And it's actually going pretty well. And I don't know what's going on over there to the left with some of those Journey to Batu people. But yeah, so, obviously more people are arriving, so they're going to just, stop. But it looks like we got their romance up a little bit, so that was good. Meanwhile, we also have Humphrey. We're back with Humphrey again because, as we know, Humphrey is trying to, kind of get involved in his father's legacy. Like, even though Abraham is doing a fine job, he still feels like, that was my father. Like, I want to be involved. And so he knows that means he needs to make his own connections and, outside of anybody else. And he realizes that Abraham isn't going to help him. And that really honestly disappoints him because he really felt like Abraham was kind of a big brother figure to him. And then all of a sudden Abraham, sees him as competition, is not willing to, involve him in anything. So why is there a fire there? Anyway, so he was really disappointed by that and honestly kind of bitter about it because he was like, wow, like that's how it's going to be. You're going to put like your own ambitions over, any relationship you had with my family. And he's obviously not happy about that. So he is like, you know what? The Harper family is very well renowned in town now and I should go talk to them. I should go visit them. And I should talk to not Nicholas. What's his name? I forget. The dad. Nicholas is the dad of the other guy. But yeah, so he comes and he chats with them a little bit and he spends some time with them. Not really anything too exciting, but it's a very polite conversation, but he's trying to get his foot in the door. So that's what he's doing. Then we will head over to Priscilla, who still has not had a child. As we know, she is not meant to have any children. So, but it's been a while since she got married and people are starting to notice that there's no baby. Even though her and her husband have been very close and they've been very in love, there's no baby. So, these are not our kids that just popped up. I put the setting on all for now, but anyway, I should probably change that. But anyway, so, obviously Priscilla's having a hard time and her in-laws are so angry with her. Like you can see her father-in-law, her mother-in-law, they're yelling at her. They're, treating her poorly. They're making fun of her clothes. Like they're making comments about how she's not integrating into their culture, how she hasn't given them a grandchild. Like, they're like, oh, our son gave up everything. And for you, and you're not even doing what you're supposed to do as a wife. And so Priscilla's having a really hard time and her husband isn't really sticking up for her a lot. He's just kind of like, oh, they'll get over it, like it's okay, like it'll be okay. But she would really appreciate it if he stuck up for her more. So they're gonna go on a little date but just stay home. Because he's like, oh, like, I promise, like, I love you, and we'll work through this. It'll be okay. Once we have a kid, they'll get off our backs. And he's just basically says that. Okay, and now the baby's being born. Abigail is having another baby. I forgot that I don't have baby names for them, so I'm just going to make one up. And then we are going to put him in here. He survived, and Abigail survived as well, and we got her pregnant again. But anyway, so basically, Priscilla is not in a very great situation. And so then Weedamoo actually interrupts their date. You can see her there. She interrupts their date and she's like, oh, hey, like, still, she like makes some mean comments. And Priscilla's like, what's your deal? And she's like, what's my deal? Is you stole my fiance. And Priscilla's like, what? And she asks her husband, she's like, what does she mean by that? And he's like, well, we were supposed to get married to like combine our two families. And, I was going to become head of the tribe, but that was all before that they had a son, Ahanu. So he's like, now that there's a son, there's no need for that. So like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not like it was really set in stone there. So Priscilla is like reeling from this fact that she finds out that her husband was like previously betrothed, basically. Um, and so she's like, can't believe it. But I mean, he did pick her instead. And so like, she doesn't really know what to think. And then we're going to get into birthdays. I know this is a little bit shorter than we normally do. I'm feeling like it's a little bit shorter. Just in my trying to explain things and then finding out that I moved on to the next thing. But anyway, birthdays. Silence Waldrick became an infant. Jason Waldrick became a toddler. Edmund Waldrick became a child. Ahanu met a comet, became a teenager. Esther Hobart became a teenager. Jacqueline Phelps became a teenager. And Peter Hobart Sr. did pass away. So, all that to say that I love Esther. I love Esther so much, and she's so beautiful. That was the hair that she had on as a child, and I was like, we need to keep that on you because you are the most beautiful. I love her, and I love the purple eyes. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm just like a sucker for all of these Hobart children. But anyway, next year we do have our baby Phineas aging up, so that is a little bit of a concern for us, but hopefully we can keep, knock on wood, we can keep our kids alive here because we lost Margaret and Abigail lives in England now and I don't really want to have to bring her back, so let's just do this. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. I hope you guys enjoyed this part. I know it's a bit shorter than usual, but as you know, my schedule is weird, so I actually haven't even played The Sims in weeks. Oops, sorry, I hit my microphone. See, I'm a mess because I haven't played The Sims in weeks at this point. So, yes, once again, I am trying to play ahead a bit, going on vacation, moving house, lots going on, so trying to play ahead a little bit. So if you have suggestions, it'd probably be better if you want them to be included, that they, exist a little further on in the timeline. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.